Hey everybody, Ari here with Yamaha's 2025 YZF-R9. This is a long-awaited sport bike that is powered by one of my favorite engines, Yamaha's 3-cylinder CP3, but it is in a dedicated super sport platform, and it's been given a number of features to make it not only high performance for the track, but also functional for the street. Let's take a look. Now you'll notice I am giving you a walk around inside the garage here. We are at Sonoma Raceway in Sonoma, California, but I am inside because it is currently raining outside. So this is not the actual motorcycle I was riding because the one I had rain tires on it. This has the stock Bridgestones. But giving you a look at this bike obviously follows the protocol of Yamaha's sport bikes with that pinched nose. It's even got some wings that'll provide some downforce when you're hauling the mail. But the gem of this bike is certainly the engine. Originally introduced in 2014 in the RevZilla, it has grown to 890 cc's and it's making about 117 horsepower and about 68 foot-pounds of torque. What's wonderful about a 3-cylinder is you get the high revs of a sport bike, but you get all this mid-range torque, and this engine is excellent. It still has the same ECU tuning as the MT-09, which recently suffers from a little bit of a flat spot in second gear, which is pretty disappointing. But besides that, I've honestly got no complaints. This thing comes stock with a quick shifter. It is bi-directional. You can also shift it back here onto the lever so that you can be GP shift, which is very accommodating for the track. If we look at the rear sets, they're also adjustable. They're in the lowest position. And the ergonomics on this bike compared to the R6, which is a very popular bike from Yamaha for a very long time, up until 2020 when it was discontinued, ergonomically, this bike is far more relaxed. So the seat is lower, the foot pegs are lower, you've got more leg room. The clip-ons are a little bit higher. So the rider triangle on this motorcycle is far more comfortable and the performance of the engine is far more accessible. So while the R6 was such a popular bike for so long, I've never quite been a huge proponent of it as a street bike because it only makes power at super high RPM. This bike makes power everywhere. Like I said, about 117 horsepower to crank, 68.5 foot-pounds of torque. And Yamaha has done a great job equipping it with a lot of really nice equipment. So let's start up at the dash here. You've got a full TFT dash, which has lots and lots of features, including ride modes. This bike has traction control, it has slide control, it has wheelie control, it has ABS, it has a quick shifter, it has all of those things. It's also got fully adjustable KYB suspension. So you've got preload on both sides of the fork, you've got your compression on the left fork with high and low speed, and your rebound on the right fork. You get this huge switch gear. It's really a lot going on over here. Cruise control, use the toggle to change ride modes. The home menu, this terrible freaking excuse for a turn signal button, horn button, signals. I mean, this is a big switch cluster. We got a lot going over here. And the shock, also fully adjustable, and something I really appreciate, a remote preload adjuster. That makes a bike a lot more versatile for the street, whether you're carrying a passenger or luggage. It also allows you to experiment with preload, which affects the bike's ride height and the way it handles. So it's nice to have this feature. You don't have to get a spanner out and try and turn a collar down there. Full LED lighting, as is customary on a modern bike. I like that it's still got these little squinty side lights. They're just marker lights, but at least it doesn't have the full-on Cyclops as the only light option like the MT-09 does. It's pretty cool. That seat, which is higher, it's 32.7 inches if I'm not mistaken. Pretty respectable. It's got a dedicated swing arm. It's got a dedicated Super Sport chassis. This aluminum frame. It's the lightest frame that Yamaha has ever made for Super Sport. They also say it is the most aerodynamic Super Sport they've ever made. So this all new bodywork with these little winglets. So it's a 430-pound package with gas, 3.7 gallons of gas in it. Pretty standard issue for a middleweight, but it is pushing 890 cc's. So I mean, this is pretty much a liter bike, guys. I mean, it's almost 900 cc's, makes tons of power, very accessible power. Everyone wants stratospheric revs. They think revs are where the fun is, but torque is where the fun is, and torque is what is practical. That's what pulls you out of corners, and this bike's got loads of it. The brakes, pretty phenomenal on this. I will say that a lot of Yamahas over the years I've criticized for having wooden brakes. Not the case with this bike. So starting at the top, Brembo radial master cylinder with stainless steel lines going down to Brembo style calipers, full-size 320mm rotor. So full-on Superbike size brakes, same thing as on the R6, same thing as on the R1. Really a phenomenal braking system. Didn't get to tax the brakes too hard in the rain today, but from what I felt, it was really nice. Did get into the ABS a little bit, which was, you know, makes you grateful it's there when you're riding in the wet and the front wants to plow. Putting the power down in this thing is really phenomenal. It pulls all the way from 4,000 RPM all the way up to the red line, which I think is close to 10.5 or maybe 11. Really broad spread of power. So you do have a choice of gears. And in the rain today, we're mostly riding in second and third. The R7 was a bike that a lot of people were really excited about. I was excited about. I think it's awesome, but it leaves a lot to be desired in terms of chassis. Whereas this bike, it's all been dealt with by Yamaha. So not supposed to be a replacement for the R6, not supposed to be a replacement for the R1, but what it is a step between the R7 and the R1. And honestly, I think this bike is going to be appealing for a lot of people because the performance is very accessible. You do not have to rev it to the moon to get it to go, and it handles so well, and it's comfortable. So $12,500, pretty awesome package that's going to work on the street and definitely works on the track, and an awesome new bike from Yamaha. So Yamaha discontinued the R6 back in 2020. Super popular sport bike. I would see a lot of them on the street, which I always thought was pretty silly because while it is a fast bike around the racetrack, it was not especially good on the street. Didn't make any power until you revved it to the moon. Whereas this bike with its CP3 engine, it makes torque everywhere. So I'm really excited to see this motorcycle join the market because it's going to be accessible power, accessible performance that works well for the track and the street, and it's pretty darn comfortable. You've got lower foot pegs, you've got a lower seat, you've got higher clip-ons. You're not fully stretched out, you're not hunched over in the aggressive attack position, but it does allow you to get into that position if you want to ride fast. So it's very versatile. $12,500 for this new bike. It is a chunk of change, but in the grand scheme of motorcycling, that is pretty modest price, especially considering what you're getting. A bike that works well on the street, you can commute on it, a bike that you can take to the racetrack and haul ass. I'm pretty stoked to see this thing out here. If you want to learn more about it and my opinions on it from Sonoma Raceway, please cruise on over to Common Tread blog and check out my feature. All right, take care.